Hello and welcome back to the Fasting Focused Lifestyle Podcast. This week I am feeling super incredulous and excited and proud all at the same time. I am broadcasting live right now. Obviously, if you're listening to me on podcast, it's not broadcasting live. For those that can see me right now on my social channels, I'm right now on my Facebook channel, my personal page linked to the Fasting Focused Lifestyle, as well as Fasting Coach Vicky on TikTok. So if you've seen me on there, wave hi, I'm so glad. Big virtual hugs to you all. Thank you for joining me today, for being a part of this ever-growing community of like-minded individuals that truly care and know that improvements can be made to your overall health and wellness. And 5 years, I did it. 5 years, and we're still going strong. So this is permanent. This is my permanent status now. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Fasting Focused Lifestyle Podcast, where each week I will be discussing all things fasting and how it can become the most valuable tool in your personal toolkit so that you can live a long, healthy, and meaningful life. I'm your host, Vicky Sharon, and thank you for joining me.
Hello, saver. Whether you're saving for that trip to the tropics or saving for an emergency, now is the time to take advantage of Wells Fargo's savings options. Wells Fargo offers savings accounts that can help you save towards your goals. So, what are you saving for? Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/save to open a savings account today.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
I'm going to start this episode by pulling back these pictures that I showed my friends on the Facebook Live and TikTok Live here. So I've got a handful of pictures, and I'll be attaching them probably in a blog post because it's too much to put in show notes and things. I don't think you could put pictures in show notes, so I'm not that tech savvy yet, but I think I'm going to put it in a blog post. So side note, if you're not subscribed to the fastingfocusedlifestyle.com, make sure you get on there and you scroll all the way to the bottom of the page. You'll see enter your email to subscribe for updates and promotions and, fasting, all knowledge, motivation, inspiration, and all that good stuff. From my experience, my education, my knowledge about all things fasting, to empower, guide, motivate, and inspire each and every single one of you that want to do the same for themselves, because it's possible. I've got these photos here, and these photos, I remember each of these moments, obviously from, my adolescence, and I look at them, and yes, I was at what was my, I say with finger quotes, normal size. And as you all, if you have heard me, obviously, hopefully podcast folks have heard many of my episodes before, but maybe folks watching me right now on my social channels have never seen or heard of me before. My story is, similar to a lot of folks, I'm sure, but with my journey, like many others, struggled with emotional eating and struggled with just not thinking there was any other option besides pacifying hard thoughts, emotions, and feelings, unless I had something in my mouth, constantly eating all day at any moment that I needed to, which was very often. And as a result, my weight continued to increase. And over the years, despite the losses, as you can see in my tank top, Body by Grief, lost my mother at 16 years old. She had breast implants in January of 2000, and that September she passed away because of the implants getting infected. And my weight continued to balloon up over the years, despite, the ups and downs of life and adolescence and growth and all this stuff. And then my time in college the first go around, and moving down to Florida, seeing my grandparents, my mother's parents, see them just perpetuate in the negativity and grief, the fresh raw grief that they were happy and content to stay in every single day, how that affected their weight and health and mental health, really above all, and continuing myself despite my conscious efforts of hey, I'm going to clean up my health. Hey, I'm going to make better active choices. These fads and temporary fixes without truly addressing the core underlying issue. Like I was just putting a temporary Band-Aid on the eating habits that I had and the food choices that I had, the mindset that I had, while not addressing that really deep underlying issue that still was there. And my grandparents had the same thing because they had a very similar lifestyle as well. But these photos I see now, despite the times that I had in my adolescence, this was me, that was me, that was me. I was the big girl in both ways. Tall. I'm 5'11", so I'm a tall girl. But at 400 pounds, I'm sure at some point I was probably well above. But when you get to a certain weight, you just don't check because you don't care. It's as sad as that is. And I was, one day after the loss of both my grandparents within the 10-month span of each other, both of them passed away, and just perpetuating again in the grief my grandmother did after my grandfather died. And my grandma, I say, and I've said this before, if y'all have listened to any of my other content or blog posts and things, my grandmother's death was probably the hardest death I've endured out of my mom, my grandfather, and obviously the most recent, my late husband. My grandmother's death probably rocked me the most because of her decline with dementia and her just outright decision to let herself perpetuate in the grief of widowhood, which I totally get the grief of widowhood. Like I'm not, saying that it's easy by any means, and I'm not, widow grief support, but if y'all are widowed, like I'm giving you a big squeezy hug because I know that headspace very, very obviously very, very well. But she chose and dealt with it, I feel, in a very harmful, hurtful way that was not showing love and respect to what her and my papa had with each other. And I know now from where I'm at that the people that we lose along our lifespan would not want us. Obviously, if we love them and they love us back, obviously, they wouldn't want us, rather, to perpetuate in that fresh, raw grief every single day, like it was the first day that they passed. And this is what the deliberate choice was that my grandmother chose. She chose to stay in that fresh, raw grief with my grandfather for the 17, 18 years that my mom had passed away. But she chose to continue even further and harder and heavier after my grandfather passed away. And after she passed away, and a really hard moment that it spun me out of control to a point where it got so difficult and painful for me that I just ate myself silly after she just blatantly outright said the first words to me on Mother's Day was, "I want to die." And that rocked my world, like spun me mentally out of control for a few weeks until, she passed away. And shortly thereafter, I had a moment of, if I don't do something now, like that's going to be me. And then, sorry. And then my children would have to deal with the aftermath, or my husband, he was alive at that point, would have to deal with the aftermath. And I did not want that. I didn't want any of that. That scared me so terribly. And I knew that I didn't want to leave that behind. I knew that there was still time that I could fix my path. And for those of you that heard my story, it was a lot more in detail, a lot more teary and emotion-filled than this brief explanation. But my initial journey into finding fasting was actually a result of seeking out what I thought I was going to do. I thought I was going to do just like keto. I thought I was going to do something along that lines because that was the familiarity of what I knew previously and the weight loss program that I had been a part of before, and what I had seen and supported my fasters. I'm so used to saying it now. I'd seen and supported my dieters before with this program, and it was called, I'm not slighting them or anything, but the program was called Ideal Protein, and I don't know if they're still in production or whatever, but I did that on and off. My late husband did that on and off, and I coached and supported folks on that as well. And I saw some losses, but I knew there was something deep down that was like, this doesn't feel like it addresses the deep underlying issue. But I knew that with coming into finding fasting with the intention of thinking that I was going to be keto, it was a testimonial about a gentleman doing a 30-day water-only fast and knowing nothing about fasting besides, the common stigma that is very commonly met with, you're starving yourself. You're starving yourself. Y'all, like, it is not starving yourself. If you truly want to have a very meaningful and effective journey with this lifestyle, you have to know about what you're doing. You can't go into this blindly and thinking that, oh, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to, as side note, like, sorry, Dad, if you're listening, but just a phrase I remember hearing and it just popped into my mind. You can't half-ass this. You have to full-ass it, right? You have to give it a full, honest effort. You have to be invested. You have to be willing to fully commit to this lifestyle if you really want to reap the full benefits. Like, if you're putting all of this, time and investment and energy into this, as my dad would say, you can't half-ass this. You have to give it everything. And I knew that I had a good 75 to 80%. I felt like there was a shred of like, ooh, this is going to be like just like every other method that I had tried before. I'm going to fail. Because I know we all have that dialogue, right? We all have that little like, it's going to be another one. You try and fail. It's not going to work. Still again, it's going to be another. We're going to mess this up. I knew if I just was present in the moment every single day as best as I could for that day, not looking like 20 miles down the road. No, I was looking at the next step, not at the whole staircase. So I was looking at just the step for today. Can I keep up this fasting routine just today? Yes, I did it. I made it to the next day. And then the next day, you worry about that day and you just keep pushing and you feel it's like this tiny little light that you've got inside of you that starts off as like, it's not even a flicker. It's like this shorted out little spark that you think from your conscious brain is like, oh, it's broken and you never fixed it. Oh, it's never going to work. Oh, it's always going to be stuck this way. I am the virtual electric, I can't even speak it right. I am your virtual electrician from all the way here in Florida. And I'm telling you, you got that spark. If you wiggle and give it a little love and attention and pay attention to those bodily cues and sensations, that little spark will get stronger and more stable and brighter and more resilient and tougher and lighter and brighter than you could ever realize. But it is a slow, gradual process. And it needs to have the most care and attention. Maybe if you don't want to think of it as a light, you could also think of it as like a tiny little seed that you're planting in there. And that seed, you have to give it love and attention. You can't just put a seed in a pot with soil and be like, I'm going to water it once, maybe once. I'm sure there are plants out there you can water once a week, so this probably isn't a good metaphor. But you can't just water it once a month and be like, oh, it's going to be totally fine. No, you have to fully commit to it. You have to learn about that. What is your seed like? Does it like good lighting? Does it like warm, cold water? Can it be outside? Does it have to stay inside? And getting to know and love all the little nuances and kinks and crickles. I'm probably saying things that are ridiculous, but I don't even care. You have to really get to know the process as best as you can to become fully invested, to know what the capabilities are of this method, of within yourself, to know what is capable, what you are capable of rather, and what your body is goodness gracious, I'm just so excited I'm talking so fast. What your body is capable of achieving. And it can be freaking fantastic and magical. It feels magical to me. That's really no other way to describe it. It just feels incredible. And I've said this before too, but I have moments where I feel like I'm at this VIP special party and I've climbed this long ass staircase all the way up to the tippy top party, and the DJ's there and it's like this crazy awesome party. But I'm the only, I feel like I'm there and maybe a few other people there, but there's tons of people down at the bottom on the street that are like, I want to be up there too. And I'm like, you pointing way down. I'm like that Oprah, right? Everybody, you can be up here and you can be, and you can be, and you can be. But the caveat is you have to climb up the stairs yourself. There's, let's say there's 50 flights of stairs. It's going to take you a good half an hour, hypothetically, half an hour or so, related to maybe a year and a half in relation, to fasting terminology. But it's going to take you some time to climb up those stairs. because there is no elevator. There is no shortcut. There's no, person that's going to put you on this little stair escalator. There's no little escalators. There's no elevator. Quick, get there right now. You have to put in I just got goosebumps. Woo-hoo. You have to put in each one of those conscious, deliberate steps up, up, up towards that goal. And I promise you, when you get up to, finger quotes, VIP, when you come up here to the level of maintenance, it becomes so much easier. And you realize probably less than halfway through your journey, you're going to put together in your mind, if you haven't realized it already, I'm telling you, or maybe you're there, if you're at this point, like shout it out below. I want to hear it. Facebook and TikTok, like if you are here right now, throw it in. I want to hear what your experience is like. But when you get to the point where you get to a point when you realize that this journey is so much bigger and more important to your health, your wellness, your longevity than just a topical, like, I want to lose X amount of pounds. I want to fit in this size. Like, okay, yes, I get we want to achieve certain physical whatever, but you get to a point when you realize there's so much more of a deeper meaning to this process than just the topical weight loss, you start to really come to face with the emotional eating triggers. You call them out, you realize them, you come face with them, and you come to realize that these triggers are, in the grand scheme of things, they're insignificant. When you truly make all these connections of, wow, this is what it truly feels like to let my body balance out, for my body to utilize these excess bodily storage, right? That's all excess body fat is. And we think of it in such a negative connotation. It's not a negative thing. Your body has simply stored energy that you have consumed in excess to use at a later point. If you allow your body to say, hey, I'm ready to use this stored energy that's on my body right now, the balance starts to happen. And yes, of course, when you're heavier, like I was, and you start that fasting routine at first, it's going to feel like it comes off fast really quickly. But the thing that people get caught up on a lot, and I hear this quite a lot, so if that's you, when you start to reach that plateau and your losses start to slow down a bit, people get discouraged. The thing that I want folks to know, and you listening on the podcast, I got you. We're talking about that P word that everybody shudders and it gives them spine chilly, tingly winglies right here. I make up my own words. That dreaded P word, we're talking about the plateau, right? If you are at that plateau, if you're reaching the plateau, if you're stuck at the plateau, we need to remove the connotation of plateaus being a negative thing. Plateaus are just balances that your body has reached to where it is telling you, it's communicating, it's a communication device, it's not anything bad. Your plateau status is telling you, we like it here. We want to stay here. This is our new normal. If you are knowing that you have continued excess body weight that wants to be continued to be utilized, to shed, to continue to be healthy, we have to keep pushing a little bit further pressure to get balance, to tilt it a little bit further. And that just means adjusting your method, whatever that works for you, whether it's turning up the intensity. Maybe you had been alternating between 16 and 18, 18.6, back and forth. Maybe now it's time to turn it up to a 20-hour fast, 4-hour eating window. The further along you get into this journey, you're going to be able to discern those differences and the way that your body feels and your ability to last longer on these fasts. And it does get easier over time. If you've heard me talk about one of my other favorite terms, besides autophagy, autophagy. Besides autophagy, the initial, obviously getting into a fasted state, that temporary state of your metabolism is the ketosis, right? You're at a stage of ketosis, but ketosis is only about 4 weeks, okay? Once you get to the point after that, you start to become what's called fat adapted. And fat adapted is the longer term metabolic switch that happens after your body is able to recognize that habitual behavior of knowing, hey, there's nothing left in the stomach, in the tank. So because we need energy to burn to keep the body functioning, organs going, blood, lungs, breathing, all that good stuff to keep us alive and moving, it's going to make that metabolic switch to allow you to utilize your stored body fat for energy instead. And that switch, once you have that physical sensation of that switch, I'm telling you all, it becomes so much easier to stay the course and to stay on this lifestyle longer. And not just in the daily fasted sense. It allows you to consistently be more mindful and present and aware each day that you're in this state of being fasted. It allows you to quickly, like I personally feel, it gives you such a sense of clear-headedness, a mental strength, stamina, and you just, it makes, I personally do my best work when I'm in a fasted state. I have been now for like the past 3 years, because I've been maintaining for 3. I lost all my weight in 2 years. But even throughout this process, realizing what my body is fully capable of is truly mind-blowing. And it's something that I think everyone can truly experience for themselves as well. And it is truly possible. It's something that I want every single person to know that they can experience for themselves. Know that it's possible. I'm going to take a quick break because I can feel my mouth getting like really dry from like going on tangents and stuff. Checking in on Facebook and TikTok. Let's see. Hello, everybody. Hi, oh, Wanda, my stepmom. I'm watching you, girl. You look beautiful. Thank you, Wanda. Love it. Big hugs to you and Dad. Big hugs. I hope Dad doesn't get upset that I'm using his, words of wisdom that I think are wisdom now. When I was, this age that you see in the pictures, when I was that age, I did not think it was wisdom. I thought it was a personal attack towards me because I was in the headspace that I was in, which I'm no longer in. And I want to empower all of you to know that you can do the same. Side note, before I take a drink of water, I'm going to give everybody a big virtual hug and thank you all again, so much. I do want to also mention that if you have not seen or, read or watched anything, that's very low chance. If you're following me, I have my official handbook, the Fasting Focused Lifestyle official handbook, first edition, available on my Etsy store. If you go to thefastingfocusedlifestyle.com, up top you'll see the Etsy link and you'll find it there. Or if you follow any of my channels, you'll see multiple links for my ebook. So if you're interested in having a digital writing kind of, hey, I want to have something tangible digitally because it's coming in print, not yet. I'll let you know when it's out. I'm excited about it too. I want it out. If you want that digital, you can print it out yourself kind of handbook to have a digital version of me to keep accountable on your fasting journey, motivational, inspirational, diary journal sort of thing of all things fasting. Thefastingfocusedlifestyle.com. At the top of the page is my Etsy link. Click on that and you'll see my Etsy store with the featured listing of my handbook right there at the top. I know old me before coming into fasting, it was very challenging to see and envision how I would be at a lean and healthy weight. And I don't say skinny because of like word associations and thoughts and feelings and stuff like that. But I truly wanted to be a lot healthier than what I had been my entire life. And fasting took me there. Fasting brought me there. And I know that I've talked about this before. My biggest takeaway is consistency. And I could feel an emotion bubbling up right now, so I apologize ahead of time because I'm feeling a little bit like sentimental and all that good stuff about today especially. Being consistent in this method, especially when it comes to your health, is super, super important. And one of the things that I did, because I'm a very visual person, and if this is you too, I highly suggest you do something like this to whatever level that you can, because your future self will thank you. I didn't do it in a physical sense, but I did it in a digital sense. And folks that have Folks that are listening to me on the podcast can check out this previous episode, as well as I put it on the cover specifically of this podcast episode because I wanted folks to see the really poorly edited version of a photo that I did of myself, because I needed to visually see myself at a smaller size to know what was possible within myself. And as a side note, I remember getting a bunch of comments on that video that I have linked to my page about my 200-pound weight loss journey. And some of the comments have said that it was my photo. Some of my photos are Photoshopped. Like, if you're seeing me right now, this is not Photoshop. This is truly me and legit. But that's just proof. It's just proof on that cover of the podcast episode that I am not skilled in Photoshop. Like, the photo that you see on that podcast episode that I used as a motivational reference was poorly done on purpose, but not for anybody else to see. It was just for me. It was just for me to see what was possible. Could I truly, I feel the tears. I truly just wanted to see that I could be at a smaller size. And I had already been, I think it was just after my 2-week point of really picking up steam. And for those that have heard the beginning parts of my story, my first 2 weeks with implementing fasting, starting very close to 400 pounds in 2 weeks, just implementing a 16-8. I didn't change very much of the food that I ate, and I didn't go crazy working out either. But just those first 2 weeks, I shed 21 pounds. And that was a huge fire under my butt. And I got so excited. And I knew just after that first 2 weeks, I knew that this was going to be the last method I would ever need to attempt. And I was like, I feel like it was at that point that I went from that previously mentioned 75, 80%, oh, we're going to try it and we're going to give it a try. Woo. It was like at that 2-week mark, I was all in. I was like, all the chips were in. I was fully invested, and I wanted to full throttle, like go all the way, and not in a punishment sort of sense. It was like, I'm going to give this every ounce of my being because I deserve a long, healthy, and meaningful life. I knew that I could take this for the long run and really see what my body was capable of doing with balancing out those health imbalances that I'd lived with and put up with for so many years, that I didn't have to stay stuck anymore. I didn't have to stay at this weight that I just felt like such a prisoner in my own body, where my toxic thoughts were just spinning all day. Victim, victim, eat, pacify. Things are hard, stressful, death, loss, stress. People don't like you. You're big. Just constantly spinning all day long. And those thoughts don't live here anymore. And I can't tell you how liberating that is to not have those verbiage constantly spinning in my head anymore, because I know there are people out there that still have those thoughts and feelings, and they may sound a little bit different in the arrangement of the words, but know that if those words still like play in your mind of, the inadequacy, that you feel invisible or you're always going to be this way, and everything related to weight and pacifying hard emotions with grabbing something from the pantry, like stop that. Let's detach from that. I can help you detach from that. If you are like, I can't do it by myself. Vicky is here. She's like putting out the big fasting, like Batman signal spotlight. Like, let me help you. Let me show you what you are capable of. Like using my teachery, like I put my education, motivation, teachery, you got this kind of hat on. Let me show you that you already know what you're capable of and how freaking awesome that is, and how freaking awesome you will feel the further along you get into this journey. But you have to fully commit to this, y'all. Like, you have to fully be invested and put your all in. And you can be like I did, and like, I'm going to do it, but I'm slightly apprehensive at the beginning. Like, that's okay. That's okay. As long as you come into this with an open mind, remove any stigmas about like, it has to be, I need to have this expectation. It's 30 days. I got to be at this point. Stop that. That's that diet culture. We're breaking away from things that, we're paving your own path. We're clearing the path for you, and it's a weird, not really looking like a path, but I'm telling you, it's going to be so much more meaningful and worth it when you get to where you can just maintain, because you don't have that negative verbiage spinning in your head anymore. You're not a victim or stuck in the size that you're at, that you can balance out those bodily imbalances from these excess stores of body energy that we've been carrying around us for so long. So, like cliche, yes, if I did it, I know you can do it too. There's no crazy add-in patches, pills, powders, drinks, whatever. No flashy, gimmicky stuff. It's going back to what your body already knows what to do. Your body knows exactly what to do. The term breakfast exists for that reason. Keeping your body in that fasted state is not starving your body. You're not starving your body. If you have excess body fat, that is energy. You are a snack. You are the most delicious little snack for your body to... Sorry, that was kind of gross. You are the most delicious snack for your body to use, the stored fuel that's there. Let's use it and watch the incredible things that manifest from this process, including the longevity and quality of life for you and everybody that you surround yourself with. It just blossoms, and it's awesome. My inner hippie is coming out, if you can't tell. She's in there. She's like, oh, we're having like hippie talk, and I love it. I'm about it. Facebook says, oh, Gladys, taking it one day at a time. Consistency is needed. Gladys, yes, I'm giving you a high 10. That's more than a high 5. I'm giving you a high 10 right now. Absolutely. Absolutely. Consistency is key on this. Absolutely. Showing up for yourself every single day. And that saying of like, fake it till you make it, you will over time find, even if it's hard, and I've talked to folks about doing this, so if you are interested, you can do this as well. I call it my mirror self-talk, and I'm sure you can find lots of videos and stuff on it, but this is the way that I do it. I didn't used to at first, but I love when I have funky headspace, I'll just space out and look at myself in the mirror and smile. And I don't have to say anything out loud, but just looking at yourself in the mirror and thinking, I did it. Today I did it. Think, I'm proud of myself. I did it. I made it through today. And then if you are able to, look at yourself straight in the eyes, whether you say it verbally out loud or you just think it to yourself while looking at yourself in the mirror, and just tell yourself, I love you. I'm proud of you. And if you feel comfortable, you give yourself one of these nice deep breath kind of hugs. And you just sit there for a moment and you think about how you feel. And you just sit there and enjoy that. Enjoy that feeling that you're giving yourself permission to have. Because we need more of those moments. We need to be more proud of ourselves for the accomplishments that we make and not hold ourselves to such a high impossible level, and being as present as you can throughout this journey. Like Gladys said, consistency through the highs and the lows, because this journey is not all like easy sailing. You're going to have lots of times of challenge and hardship. And truthfully, my mindset has flipped, and instead of taking things personally, offensively, I see challenges as learning opportunities, as opportunities for me to grow and evolve into a better version of myself than I was the day before. And you can do the exact same thing. Exact same thing. For so many years, so many years, fear held me back, and I was stuck the way that I was before. I knew that I was feeling like I was afraid of failure, like I said, but this method was different. And I discovered that very early on. And it just only grew over time. And the truth is, as I've said before, anybody can have this. If you want this bad enough, you can have this too. Time is going to pass whether you take action or not, and nobody is going to want this as much for your health as you do. So you've got to be fully invested in this. If you want this for your future, you can. You can have this for your future. Because as I've always said, if you've heard me speak before, if you've heard me say it on my podcast episodes or any of my video content or posts, my favorite saying to share is, I believe in you, even if you don't, because I do. I truly, truly do. I want to see more people as afters. We need to extend health and longevity around the world. We need to improve the lives of many. And it's happening. People are changing their lives with fasting. The lives I have seen affected in my time, just as their health support coach, and even to folks that I haven't been directly supporting and coaching, folks that have been lurking in the sidelines and to the back, and maybe not like meeting or having a consult with me, but just taking my advice and running with it. The feedback that I've got has truly moved me to tears so many times, every single message that I get. Because to me, that's more time that these members of their family have with the ones that they love. That also means that these family members that are improving their health are also sharing to their family members that they're not victims to their hardships or emotional pangs and urges. And these ripples will continue. I just got goosebumps. These ripples of corrected behavior will ripple generations. There are the goosebumps again. And don't you want that for your future, for your children, for your children's children, for their children? Just think of the generational change that can happen. You could be making huge changes to your life and may not even directly realize it, but it could influence positively generations to come. How beautiful would that be? I just got goosebumps again. How much of a beautiful gift can that be to the ones that we love, to impart that beautiful change in our health and wellness, and to be able to stop those, conditions, those health conditions and things that we deal with because of our lifestyle and diet choices. You stop them dead in their tracks with your generation. That's possible. I truly believe that's possible. All right, before I wrap this up, I'm going to take some more questions if anybody's got them. If anybody in TikTok has any questions, feel free to, I'm going to scroll just a bit to make sure I didn't miss a lot of people coming and watching. And Facebook, lots of folks. Oh, Kenzie, how you doing? Big hugs to you and the family. Tell everybody I said hello. Watched. How long does it take to see change? That is a very common question. However, that's going to depend on a lot of factors, but I want you to think about it and leave the question, hypothetically, let's put the question down on the table and let's rise, think about it from a higher stance. What is the reasoning that you were wanting to be able to see change in a specific time period? So I'm challenging your question with another question. And the reason why I ask that is as I've spoken many times before, specifically about diet culture and the thoughts and expectations of having to meet certain metrics by certain dates can cause the emotional spinning verbiage wheel going in our head, can cause that to go way off kilter very, very easily, very quickly, when we put ourselves under that amount of pressure and stress unnecessarily. Kenzie, for a wedding, I understand, but I also want to challenge you to think about it from, the benefit is going to be from improving your health and weight for a wedding, but really you're doing it for the rest of your life, right? You're doing it to improve your health and wellness and body physiology. And those changes that continue to evolve and improve over time are just going to compound on each other. And again, like I said before, doing it without that present mind awareness and really personal investment into this process, you're less likely to have those results be permanent if you are rushing into this. Yes, Kenzie, you do want to change the habits. Totally understand. I would say just start. Just start and let your body show you what's possible. Kenzie, if you have additional questions, reach out to me and we can chat further. Kenzie is my late husband's longtime childhood friend, so shout out to you, Kenzie, and all the fam. Please make sure you tell everybody I said hello and give them all big hugs for me too. But before I wrap all this episode up, does anybody have any? I don't see any other questions here, so I'm going to start to wrap it up here. I am incredibly grateful and appreciative of every single one. As I've said, folks that have reached out, I thank you. Folks that haven't reached out and just been silently lurking, on the wall, like a fly on the wall, just kind of hanging out and absorbing, I see you and I appreciate you too. Folks that have been very open and communicative and having a lot of frequent meets with me, I'm there for you too. I know what's possible with implementation of this lifestyle. And as I've said, this is something that I want for every single person that wants it for themselves. This is a beautiful journey and evolution, and it's incredible. I want this for every single person, but the truth is, you have to be fully invested into this. Over time, it will grow. It will get better. You'll get more and more excited about this process the further along you get. I promise. It's truly life-changing, and I want this for every single person that wants it for themselves. Because as I've said, I truly believe in every single one of you, even if you don't. So if you are in need of supportive coaching on your journey, I'm here. I care. I'm a product of my lifestyle, and I advocate very passionately for a fasting-focused lifestyle because I know you can do it too. TheFastingFocusedLifestyle.com has my calendar, blog links, and as well as links to my Etsy store where you can get your own copy of the digital official Fasting Focused Lifestyle First Edition Handbook. If you are interested in having the physical printed copy of it, know that it is still in the process of the publishing. And when it does become available, I will be sure to let everybody know because I've had lots of folks message me about a physical printed copy. But let you know as a little caveat, you can also print out the PDF pages from the digital ebook as well. Like if you go to a Staples or Office Max printout paper store or wherever, print it out. They can bind it and stuff for you, and you can have a printed version there. But if you're waiting for the official printed together as a book version, stay tuned to notifications on my website. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, you can subscribe to my mailing list, and you will be in the loop when that physical copy of the book becomes available. Thank you all. I'm going to give you all another big hug. I'm feeling like I need to give hugs today, so I'm going to give hugs to everybody. I appreciate, as I've said before, I appreciate every single one of you. Every single one of you. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of this journey with me. Thank you for being here right now in this moment. It feels good. It feels good. And I want folks to have it too. I want you, as I hit my mic here, I want you to have it too. Truly believe in y'all, okay? I believe in you, even if you don't. Please take care of yourself, and we'll talk again soon. Bye. The Fasting Focused Lifestyle Podcast. Copyright 2023. The information given within this podcast is not intended or implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please consult your doctor before starting any weight loss method. Thank you.